Hi guys, Human Central here, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to finally get the Day in the Daleks, which, if you've been watching my content, you'll know that I've done my Day of the Daleks review already, which was my first Pertwee review. But in that video, I said I had the target novelisation as well, and that I'd do a comparison video once I'd read it. And a couple of weeks later, I've now finally finished reading the book. So yeah, we're going to do a comparison over them, just to look at what changes has Terrance Dicks made to Louis Mark's original script, and has it improved the story overall, or has it made the story slightly worse? So yeah, we're gonna look at that. So first off, if you don't know much about the story, basically, there's these people going back in time, and they're trying to kill Sir Reginald Styles, and then they come back in time, and they meet the Doctor rather than Sir Reginald Styles, as he's gone away somewhere, and because they believe that Sir Reginald Styles was the reason that the Daleks invaded Earth because of a war that broke out once all the Daleks got killed in an explosion of Austerley House, which is the place that they're at. But it turns out at the end of this serial that it's one of the young guerrillas, or the terrorists, guerrilla freedom fighter people. They're actually the reason that one of them actually blows up the house to try and kill Styles, which means they set off the events. So it's kind of like a Terminator before Terminator kind of thing. So yeah, that's a quick overview of it. The actual story, the actual comparisons now. So in the DVDs, in the DVD run, you've got there's a scene where one of the, not the first time you meet the gorilla, but there's a gorilla who gets attacked. It's the one who tries to kill Sir Reginald Styles, but gets stopped, and they find their body, and then it disappears at one point, and he just gets it. He turns around, gets hit by an ogron, and gets killed or severely injured in the DVD. But in this, there's actually a whole part of the book where they're running around. He's getting chased by the ogrons, and then the unit soldiers are chasing the ogrons because they think they're a threat, which they are and stuff. And then it kind of, so it kind of goes around in circles. And then the ogrons manage to disappear when when Sergeant Benton thinks they've got them trapped in a tunnel. The next major difference is in the book again, where in the book there's a scene in the book which isn't in the TV show, and it's at the very end of the book, and I'm just going to kind of jump around trying to remember where I can remember the comparisons. There's a bit of an ending of the book where the Doctor goes into the building to try and stop Shura from blowing it up, and then when he realises Shura wants him to come in here, and he'll take his own life to destroy the Daleks, the Doctor lets him, and then he tries as a heroic act in the TV show, in the episode serial, in the DVD. He just kind of appears, says, "Brigadier, get everyone out of the house." He does, and then after a little bit, he just lets the Daleks. He says, "Just let the Daleks go through." Not much of a difference, but he just kind of lengthens the book out a bit. Now, another big difference, which is not really that much of a big difference, but in the classic run, the unit was known as Unified Intelligence Task Force, and then in the new show they changed it to United Nations Intelligence Task Force, which I prefer the classic one's version. But Terrance Dicks put it that Brigadier was the head of the United Nations Intelligence Task Force, which it wasn't. It was the Unified Intelligence Task Force, but they changed it for the new series because I'm assuming UNIT expanded into America and stuff. So that was just a little nitpick, which wasn't to do anything with the story, but it was just he just kind of wrote it wrong. I'm also not 100% sure if this is at the end of the Day of the Daleks, but I think another changes it at the end. In the last chapter, which is a short chapter, chapter 14 is quite short, the Doctor goes back into the TARDIS with Joe, and he looks in front of him, and then it's the scene from the beginning of the story. Because at the beginning of both of the book and the Doctor's experimenting with the TARDIS, and then they see a future version of Joe, and the Doctor standing in the doorway, and then the Doctor goes, "Oh no, that can't do," and he sends them back to their own point in time. And then at the end of the book, the Doctor is in that other perspective. The person he saw who was slightly in the future, he saw them. He was them, like, looking at the people from the past. Which I can't remember if it's in the original script, which is quite cool. Anything that the book did slightly worse. I mean, it's a book, it's just words, so, without the actor's charisma and all that, it's always going to be slightly... It's not worse, but it's going to be, like, slightly harder to bring life to the character in a book as it is in a serial, like John Pertwee's, because you can hear, if you've watched a lot of Doctor Who and you read this, you can hear John Pertwee in this story, and you can hear Joe and the Brigadier and stuff, but it's not as good as the Day of the Daleks when you're on the TV, which is just always going to be a downfall of a book. The books can go into more depth, they can go into more... You can take more time to learn the characters a bit more, but you're never going to fully, experience... Not a full experience, you're just not going to have that surround this. So yeah. Another thing which I think is a bit difficult for me, personally, is that when I was reading the book, I thought it was a really good book, but one thing was there's the gorillas, the freedom fighter people who go back in time. In this show, I've watched the episode a couple of times, and I don't actually know the names, because I don't think some of them don't even get names, I don't think. And the only one I knew was Anat, because she was the only woman of the gorillas, so I knew that who she was. But apart from that, I didn't know who the other ones were, and I only recognised them from their face. So in the book, I kind of didn't really know who was who, because they kind of just... they kind of just like... I think the thing is, I could put... If someone showed me a picture of them and said, this is Shora, I'd be like, oh yeah, that okay. But if they didn't say who his name was and show me a picture, I'd be like, oh, that's that guy from Day of the Daleks. So, yeah, which isn't a big thing, it's quite a minor thing. But it's just, the characters I don't think they get names, and if they do, they're not used that often, so it's just kind of, I couldn't figure it out. But yeah, in all, I think Terrance Dicks has been quite faithful to the original script by Louis Marks. I also think that the nice introduction by Gary Russell is quite interesting. I do love some extra content, and I know the books can't do special features and all that, so it's nice to see the introduction by Gary Russell, because it is quite cool. In terms of the Day of the Daleks itself, one thing I don't think I mentioned when I talked about this, but I might have done, is that there's obviously two. You got your disc 1 and you got your disc 2, and the difference is disc 1 is they're not that different. Oh, my Day of the Daleks thing's been a bit broken. But you got your disc 1, and in that it's just basically the episode. And then in disc 2, it's the same episode, but then Nicholas Briggs is dubbed over the Daleks, basically. So Nicholas Briggs is the guy who voices the Daleks at the moment, and basically because the quality of the Daleks' voices is so poor in this, they've just made him go over them again. Which, it depends who you are. Some people don't, pure Doctor Who fans, some purists who want it to be completely the original, they want to watch it as if it was 1972. 1972. They will not like the special edition, but I like the special edition. I think it's quite good. But obviously that has nothing to do with the book. But yeah, overall, I think the book's great. I think if you enjoy the Day of the Daleks, which I do, I think the Day of the Daleks Dalek novelisation is really good. In terms of the target novelizations, because I have quite a couple of them, I'll try and do some more comparison videos if people enjoy this, if people have enjoyed this, which if you have, think about liking and subscribing, as it does help me out, and also it shows me that this comparison video is something that people like to watch. Therefore, I can do others because I got a couple. I think another good one. I think I might maybe look at Rose next. I think I'll try and read Rose target novelisation and see if that's any good, and then compare it to the actual episode. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this, like and subscribe, and watch another video. If you want to see my more in-depth review of this than the comparison, you should go watch my Day of the Daleks review, because that's arguably a lot more in depth about the story. If you want to watch anything else, just have a look around, see what you want to watch. But yeah, see you.